Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. As today, after a myriad of distractions, we're finally setting our sights on more adventure. Aside from just meeting our local death cult, that is. We're just one hop shy of Odanithus 11, which is where I believe we've got our next DLC dungeon. Though, before that, we're pretty much guaranteed to trigger a travel event. So Odanithus might actually have to wait. Colony event popped, as did something on our void ship bridge. Though it is curious we didn't have any lead-in dialogue. Oh. Alright, okay, let me just steel myself. Gird thine loins. Jai is intently rifling through your possessions and does not notice you. Or she pretends not to notice you. Mistress Adari, glad to see you making yourself at home. You finding anything interesting in there?
Shireen, there you are. I've been waiting for you.
She says, whipping around bold as brass and giving you a dazzling smile. You know, Miss Haydari, this is becoming a bit of an unsettling habit on your part. Normally when I find someone rummaging through my personal effects, I would dress her down.
I can't help it, Shireen. I am used to all doors being open to me. A consequence of my upbringing, no doubt.
Yes, of course. The noble upbringing that you clearly fabricated. Though I suppose if you were brought up as a thief, that would still be a truthful statement. So please, I'm giving you every chance to explain yourself. What precisely are you doing in my bedchambers?
Sating a hunger greater than any bodily appetite. My curiosity. You see, a person's face, their clothes, their manner is all just a mask. Smoke from the lips of a fire breather designed to hide the truth. But the contents of chests and cupboards, they are the reflection of the soul, in which the wise can glimpse another's heart. I have been wondering what kind of person you truly are.
Okay, sure, yeah. I mean, I can kind of understand that. Though I'll go ahead and say now, if your goal was to try to get to know me better by studying the clutter of my personal effects, you're not going to find it in there. Somehow I've got it all in my pockets. Though, speaking of pockets, you're certain that none of my belongings happen to find my way into yours?
Shireen, you besmirch my heart with the black ink of bitterest insult. If you do not trust me, search me.
With a mischievous smile, Jai presents her body for your inspection, spreading her arms wide. Okay, I think I see where this is going. But just to clarify, you do realize if you want things, you can just ask for them, right? And I'll probably give them to you? Like, the worst I can say is no.
What if I don't like asking?
Jai laughs, a challenge in her eyes. Right, so this is all just part of the game.
Everything in our lives is a game, Shireen. We play, we are played. Without games, everything would be so unbearably dull.
You know, kind of meta, but I don't disagree. But fine, let's get this down pat.
else am I to prove my innocence, Shireen?
Jai, ducking her chin, bites her lip. Well, you know, you are almost charming right now. But I don't necessarily want to go crazy with this, so... You know what, we'll work our way down. We'll start with the outer layers and... And then if we have to go deeper, we'll go deeper. Give her a proper dressing down. As her hands slide down from Jai's shoulders, she leans into your touch slightly and places her hands at your waist, turning the inspection into something closer to an embrace.
Keep going, Shireen. You will strike lucky yet.
Oh? Okay, well, I mean... I guess... Jacket off? Inappropriate? You feel the heat of her skin. Jai, who tries to hide the way her breath hitches, accepts your touch and smiles faintly.
I love the gift, Shireen.
Your fingers brush against something warm. You take out a tiny decorative wooden box that usually sits on display in your quarters. You open it and find a note folded inside that reads, "Thank you." Jai looks into your eyes, smiling. Oh, well that's... Huh, you know what, I was kind of worried this might get a bit lewd, but it turns out it was just a sweet gesture. That's very nice. It was my pleasure. It turns out giving you that colony kind of worked out for everyone involved. So where exactly are we going with this?
Everything the rogue trader desires.
Uh-huh. Oh, well... So it's true what they say about rogue traders, you something something question mark. Alright, well, you know... Gotta say, that's not quite the space kitty I might have been hoping for. But I guess I did kind of do that to myself. Hey, you know, maybe we didn't do anything. We were just lying there, it's fine. It definitely got a lot looter with Darren back in Wrath, so... Valen plus J has been carved into the headboard with a knife. Neat. Thanks for that. Oh, hello. Master of Ablutions? Were you just, were you just hanging out there the whole time I was doing that? I am very sorry. I should invest indoors. Hi. Hi, what's up? Would you like to take a bath, your lordship? Sure. I mean, I guess I do feel pretty dirty at the moment, so a bath certainly couldn't hurt. Oh, cool, my own private audience. That's exactly what I like when I am trying to relax in a bath. The soothing water caresses your senses, and your grateful muscles welcome the chance to rest. A pleasant languor spreads through your body as you allow yourself a moment of quiet relaxation. I mean, that does sound nice. Certainly a refreshing change of pace from our usual hustle and bustle. The tension slowly retreats as you bring yourself to complete stillness. Joint by joint, muscle by muscle, pore by pore. Before long, you have surrendered the bastion of your body to the bliss of oblivion. Troubles, worries, loss, Such things do not belong in this newly established dominion of tranquility. There are only the infinite waters of weightlessness, in which, stripped of all things superficial, the mind of Valen von Valancius drifts in silent bliss. It is a conscious mind. What fills this consciousness? Oh, interesting. Though I imagine it is ultimately just a way to eke out some extra ideology points. We will mull on the impossibility of actually making positive change in this grim-dark universe. How much can one person, even a rogue trader, possibly hope to accomplish? And at what cost? The strands of fate are fragile, yet woven together they are strong. Not everyone is destined to see this voyage through to its end. But no one will be forgotten. Oh, that's actually very nice. I like that. Rogue Trader shower thoughts. This episode is not going how I thought it would. This moment of serenity soon fades. The body reclaims the mind, binding it once more to the familiar shell of flesh, sinew, and bone. Also, plasteel and, I don't know, like 60 profit factor worth of high-grade cybernetics. Also, my guns, which I just realized are also in the bath with me. That's certainly an interesting choice. Oh, and we can invite people from our retinue. Oh, wow, pretty much everyone. Okay. Shoot, man, I really... Damn it. Now I kind of want to invite everyone just to see what happens, but I don't know if we can actually do more than one. So if we start with the assumption we can only do one, I feel like it would have to be Cassia, right? Especially after what we just did with Jai. I mean, Cass definitely needs some screen time to counterbalance. Might have done her a bit dirty in that first scene, so, you know, we should probably come clean. Though I'm not entirely certain she'll appreciate our efforts, but, you know... Master of Ablutions, please send for Lady Cassia. I'm sure she's not preoccupied mid-warp. This is probably fine. Lord Captain, it is most improper for us to be conversing in your bath chamber, and I cannot believe you wish me to paint a picture of you, disrobed. I cannot. It is scandalous. This goes beyond every standard of decency. Yeah, you say that, and yet, for some reason, we had an artist's easel just sitting in the corner of my bathroom. So I've got to assume... Well, I do apologize if I've overstepped, Lady Cassia. I just, You're certain there's not some obscure tradition of painting aristocrats in such fashion? I am afraid that my teachers on Urak 5 never mentioned such a curious practice to me. I have never painted people before, but I am willing to try if you insist. Yeah, it's perfect. You know what? That is everything I could have possibly hoped for. Nude portrait of the rogue trader. Lady Cassia's artistic interpretation of your naked form. You could spend hours trying to figure out which specific part of the painting is supposed to be your face or your leg, or if they are even depicted in it at all. That is fantastic, and I love it, and I really hope we can put it up in our entryway. I mean, why else would they give us an actual item for it? It actually also does kind of posit the interesting question of whether this is, in fact, how Cassia perceives everyone around her, as a constant swirl of empathic colors and hues. Huh. Cassia picks up her brush. The two of you spend the next half hour engaged in small talk. and her awkwardness soon gives way to an intense focus as she becomes immersed in her art. This painting, it may not be what you had in mind. Still, this is how I see you and your colors. The canvas is a whirlwind of brightly colored paints. The outline of a human figure is suggested through broad, colorful strokes and fluid shapes. You would be hard-pressed to call it a portrait, but the series of abstract images and impressions do vaguely resemble your form. It's perfect. I love it, thank you. Cassia's cheeks turn pink, and you feel a flush of embarrassment. You are most gracious. It would be a pleasure to paint like this again sometime, though perhaps in a more traditional environment. What, you don't like water painting? But no, seriously, this was also very sweet. Wow. Though now I am really wondering if we can, in fact, invite other members of our retinue, because if we can, I'm... Oh, no. Sadly, it does appear it was just one guest per bath. Fair enough. Though I suppose we might be able to take more than one bath. You are alone once more. The Master of Ablution stands by at the ready, patiently awaiting your command. And you know what? What the heck? Let's call in the enforcers as well. Why not? This is already about as weird as it's going to get, so... A little extra weird, certainly not going to hurt. You two, why don't you come and join me? The enforcers exchange a puzzled glance. Do you mean us, your lordship? You really going to make me repeat myself? But yes, please. There is far more food and libation here than I could possibly indulge in myself. I wouldn't want it to go to waste. Orders received, your lordship. We will commence relaxation immediately. Oh, gotta say, Bran, you're kind of off to a bad start there, but... The enforcers are lean and muscular. They sit down awkwardly in the bathtub, clearly fighting the urge to stand at attention. What would you like to talk about, your lordship? We await your orders. Well, I mean, first of all, at ease. I just want you to relax a little. And like I said, please help yourself to the refreshments. Again, it's no trouble. It's far more than I would ever be able to consume myself. And I am more than happy to share in the splendor. The enforcers are barely able to conceal their excitement as they shove delicious delicacies into their mouths and wash them down with obscenely expensive drinks. They have never experienced anything like this before, and likely never will again. This is a feast they will not soon forget. A story they will tell their grandchildren someday. There we go. So, now that you two have finally loosened up, tell me about yourselves. What do you do when you're not guarding me in the bath? For hundreds of years, our clan has been responsible for ensuring the rogue trader's safety during times of leisure and relaxation. The enforcer's voice is filled with pride. I guard this bath chamber just as my grandmother did before me. She trained me herself and instructed me in my duties. Oh, an entire clan just to guard my bathroom. I'm not really sure how to... I mean, I don't hate it. This bath chamber can be more dangerous than a battlefield sometimes. You can slip on a wet tile, you can choke and drown. If the water is too hot, you can burn yourself, and if it's too cold, you can freeze. There have even been cases where angry machine spirits have released sparks of their fury in the water, and of course there have been numerous assassination attempts and... The woman stops abruptly as the other enforcer loudly clears his throat. Well, I certainly appreciate your efforts. I am awash with gratitude. All the more reason for me to share in the splendor. You've certainly earned it. We live to serve, your lordship. We'll keep you safe. I have no doubt you'll try. Please don't die, though. I would feel very bad if you or Bran bit it. The fact they gave you names does make me somewhat nervous. Seriously, though, you do have a life outside of just this, right? When we're off duty, we train, maintain our equipment, and pray at regulation-approved intervals. If we do have some time to ourselves, we might play some Tanto Low, and Bran over here carves things out of soap scraps. She nods at her partner. Though, for the most part, we barely get enough time for rest, let alone for leisure. Oh, soap carving. That is high-grade ASMR. I would very much like to see that, but I mean, I don't want to force you to do it, but I don't suppose you could indulge me? The enforcer looks slightly flustered, but he quickly gets to work. After a little while, he presents you with a bust of the Emperor, about half the size of your palm. The Emperor's visage has been recreated with incredible precision and attention to detail. The small carving surpasses the work of many a skilled sculptor. Oh, that's the good stuff. This might be the most intimate thing we've seen thus far. Just a man sitting in a bath, carving a bar of soap. Bran, I don't know what to say. This has just been a day full of surprises. I'll find a place for it in my collection. Thank you. The enforcer is speechless with amazement. His eyes shine with pride. I am not worthy of such an honor. Thank you, your lordship. No, thank you. I have immense respect for artists. I just wish I could do more. But please, indulge yourselves. We would consider it a great honor, your lordship. But please do not tell the Master-at-Arms we joined you in your ablutions. Mistress Sourback will beat us bloody if she finds out. Oh, goodness, no, I will certainly not tell her. We're having a nice chill time here. No need to turn it into a bloodbath. You feel revitalized. This was truly an experience worthy of a rogue trader. But alas, all good things must come to an end. Though I do notice we can still take another bath. I wonder... Okay, you know what? I've got to check. One sec. Yes, it turns out that we can, in fact, call in other members of our retinue once per bath, and we can take additional baths. So oh man, I am so tempted to cycle through them all now. But I have also realized we're like 25 minutes deep into this episode, and all we've done so far is flirt with Jai and take a bath. So we should probably go adventure now, I guess. Also, I did check. I checked to see if we could put up the new picture, but apparently not. Which does make me wonder why we actually got a physical item for it, and why it has this special outline on it. Because notice, it has an off-color outline, which we have not seen on any other item in the game thus far. It's definitely not a quest item, because the quest items actually have more pronounced gold borders. Yeah, like that. So I don't know. That does make me curious if, like... Oh, you know what? Maybe we could ask, Danrock. Also, I'm not going to do it, but I am curious if we could actually tattle on those poor guards to Sourback. Oh, that's awful. That would be so cruel. Alright, portrait. Dan Rock, I have come to bargain. Oh, and you know what, while we're here, I did notice when I was doing the between-episode bookkeeping, we do not have enough for the Drusians yet, but we do have enough to bump ourselves up to tier 14 with Kaspalika, which will put us just 2 ranks shy for the current max. So we will go ahead and do that. We need 1,300. Oh, right, no, 1,395. There we go. And that gets us the Blade Dancer's Bracers, which are no big deal since we did not go that route with Cabela. But then also the Bane of Sorrow, a unique Aldari las rifle with a significant damage bonus versus Drukhari, which, you know, might just come in handy considering the main story quest we have yet to do for Act 2. That said, it's also important to grab that because I did in fact run the new updated companion poll past the Raiders last week, and surprisingly they chose not to bench Yurliette, which does make it all the more important to update her arsenal. Though they also want us to run with Cabela, so she's in to stay, at least for the time being. And of all the characters they decided were expendable, surprisingly, they voted for Adira, which I do have some reservations about, considering she is one of our primary alpha strikers, our primary buffer, and our primary healer. Though, skill-wise, it is relatively easy to replace her. I mean, we'll have to swap someone else in for Warplore, but she was already secondary on awareness, and it would be nice, I suppose, to avoid the downside of having an unsanctioned psyker in our active squad. In many cases, the things she summoned were more dangerous than the actual foes we were facing. So, you know, what I'm thinking, if we do end up deciding to stick with this new mix, is actually swapping Pascal over from Medicae to Warplore, and then having Cabela take over as our primary Medicae. I can actually bump her up to 120 or so relatively easily. And then, you know, the loss of buffs kind of sucks, but the loss of healing we can offset with our infinite supply of trauma packs. So yeah, I can see some definite possibilities there. We are losing some firepower, of course, but it should be fun? Question mark? We'll test run it for a mission or two, see how it goes. Though, before we get stuck into that, we have a colony event. Lord Captain, a strange anomaly has been detected on Giava Gamma. A series of orders defined as Procedure 0C forced itself into the production algorithms. The servants of the Omnissiah define its execution status as most sacred, and therefore follow its instructions impeccably. In just one cycle, cells were erected in all of the manufactorums, connected by cogitators, or, more precisely, their computing channels. This network forms a pattern similar to those applied to the digital cells of machine spirits. The 0C procedure commands Magi with an above-average psi receptivity index to enter the cells. Those tech priests who take their seats in the cells fall into a blissful data dream, where they listen to the binaric hymns, very similar to those that periodically whirred from the warp vox of Cubist Delphine. The performance of the manufactorums has dropped. Many of the machine god servants have abandoned their posts and are pleading for the privilege of fulfilling Procedure 0C. But the enforcers have taken custody of the cells and ward those volunteers away from them. Interesting. So running the procedure will grant us Armor of Refraction, implying that it's feeding them schematics or giving them some sort of joint inspiration to craft specific devices. And then, of course, also -1 efficiency for obvious reasons. Researching the procedure grants us Secrets of the Ancient Cybersmiths, which is a modest logic-based damage to energy weapons. Wouldn't really apply to most of our guys, unless that does count las guns, which, in theory, you'd think it would, but I'd have to double-check that. I mean, Valen is a logic main, and he does use a las gun, so that wouldn't be a bad fit for him. Also, you know, I mean, I feel like researching is kind of his go-to option when it comes to things he doesn't understand. And then just destroying it grants Abolisher of Procedure 0C. All allies deal plus 10% damage to machine, part machine, and Necron creatures. Danrock, what do we know about this mysterious procedure? We cannot trace the source of the signal that activated it or figure out what it means. The tech priests oppose the idea of researching the procedure as it violates the sacrament. Supposedly, the minds of the Magos immersed in the cells are involved in some grand-scale computation. The servants of the Omnissiah have tested the computational network 7 times with purifying algorithms of varying degrees of severity, proclaiming it clean. Okay, that does make it seem more trustworthy. Not that tech priests can't be misled, but any second opinions here? I'm looking at you, Pask. These things need to be filled with high psi sensitivity tech priests? Sure, but why use our servants? Look on remote stations and outposts for those who were banished as unfit, and you'll find 3 times as many more suitable candidates than in the manufactorums. Psi receptivity rarely goes hand in hand with high rationality, and such tech priests often end their careers in the wilderness. Right, yeah, that's fair. We did see what happened with Delphine. Juliet. Are they singing? It is surprising that your race was able to achieve such a harmonious form of interaction with man-made tools. My kinsmen also use psychoacoustic harmonics to guide our creations. I'm not a bone singer myself, but I might be able to tell your servants of certain principles regarding how the universe sounds. Really?
I find this sacrilegious suggestion to be in breach of the Data Unity Protocol.
Well, welcome to the conversation, Pask. Oh, and goodbye, I guess. A signal seemingly coming from nowhere that has the highest execution priority. The perfect weapon for capturing the planet. It should be anathematized, and I am ready to summon a cadre of competent Texorcists from the Inquisition. Thanks, Heinrichs. I do appreciate the offer, but I think we'll hold off on just destroying it, especially if there is any chance it is a legitimate message or blessing of the Omnissiah. So really, it just comes down to whether we're going to lean into it or we're going to try to understand it. Both of which kind of seem like they might be bad ideas, though with this particular option, we also gain Aldari machine taming in addition to the energy weapon bump, which grants plus 10 lore. Oh, which grants plus 10 lore Xenos and plus dodge reduction against Xenos. Interesting. I mean, the energy weapon bump was already pretty appealing. -1 security does suck. I mean, we're already sucking fumes on security, but I feel like the benefits might outweigh the cons there. Not like 1 security is really going to do much more for us than 0 security would. And then we can also still research it without Juliet's secrets, which is fair. That would just give up that extra plus 10 Xenos lore. And then Heinrich's thing is just the same as destroying it. We could have done that ourselves, thanks Heinrich. And, you know, given our options, I do feel like trying to understand it would be Valen's go-to, even before you get into the added bonus of also getting Xenos secrets. We will see if the Monkey are capable of learning from the civilized. Ah, gosh. Way to immediately undo any goodwill you may have just earned. My goodness. Your servants have started their interrogation, seeking to determine the nature and purpose of the mysterious procedure. They have encountered ancient creations of data smithing, impossible in the current times, and have been filled with a great awe. They could not fathom the wisdom of the digital archaeotech. The blasphemous research of Xenos knowledge undertaken as part of the interrogation has led to a series of heretical acts of creation. The weakened mind of the Magos sought to apply the secrets of the Eldari to their research. The culprits were servitorized, and the results of their work placed in a protected, forbidden directory. Oh, well, I mean, that's not quite what I was going for, but, I mean, okay. I guess I assumed as Rogue Trader I would be able to kind of hand-wave that restriction, but I guess the Tech Priests do technically answer to a different, potentially higher authority. But hey, can't unlock the secrets of the universe without breaking a few planets, question mark. Anyway, that's pretty much it for colony projects, at least for Act 2. We've just got the one Drusian project left. And a new Titan Forge Lance to equip. Yeah, which is longer range, higher damage, but narrower firing arc than our current Sunhammer. I'd say that's a fair trade-off. And unfortunately, we definitely do not have time for a full-on dungeon, but we can at least poke our head in. Get a gander at whatever we're dealing with here in Odanithis 11. Though right off the bat, I'm noticing we don't have any POI icons. Just the resource markers, which we could afford to take now, but I mean, honestly, even with 13 extractiums, I feel like it's still not worth one. Not for 2 plasteel. Though that might change once we unlock the next batch of projects. Oh, okay. Well, that's why we don't have a POI marked. Because they just straight up added a 4th planet. That wasn't there the last time we were here, otherwise we would have scanned it. A modest colony. The scouting team sent to the colony world returns with a decrepit, shaggy, foul-smelling vagrant in tow. The old man hastened toward the enforcers as soon as he saw the dynasty's colors, and implored them to take him to Master Voitvir or Lady Theodora. I mean, that might be a bit of a problem, but we'll consider your request. During his interrogation, the old man says he is a loyal servant of House von Valancius. 4 decades ago, he was sent on an important mission to this system by Master of Whispers Voitvir. It took him 20 years to complete the mission. He spent the next 20 waiting for his masters to collect him. The vagrant was an ambitious young spy when he left the ship, and coming aboard again has made him very emotional. 20 years? I mean, Voitvir only just betrayed us within the past year. The investigation has found no wrongdoing that the old man could be held accountable for. His body bears no signs of worshipping the archenemy. He has confessed to no crime, and seems quite shocked at the news of Lady Theodora's death and Voitvir's treachery. The harsh interrogation techniques have taken an almost fatal toll on his failing health, yet forced no admission of guilt from him. I didn't ask you to do that, and I also guess I can't act like I'm surprised you did. Sorry, I guess. Miscommunication. You didn't really need all those ribs anyway, right? The vagrant only agrees to share the details of his assignment with the rogue trader himself. If his claims are to be believed, he was sent to recover documentary evidence of House Winterscale's debt liabilities to House von Valancius. These priceless papers had been stolen by hired agents of the Cold Trade on Kaligos Winterscale's orders. However, instead of being destroyed as he wanted them to be, they were hidden away for the purposes of blackmail. Oh, I think I see where this is going. The old man describes a long journey full of perilous adventures that eventually brought him into possession of the documents, which he then proudly presents to you. Astonishingly enough, the papers turn out to be genuine. Oh, okay, well, I thought we were going to have the adventures, but apparently this guy did it for us. Thanks? I mean, I guess I can't really complain about an easy 3 profit factor. Does seem like a fairly trivial sum in the grand scheme of things, though, at least relatively speaking, based on our current accumulated wealth. Though I suppose for any actual normal commoner of the Imperium, that would be like an utterly inconceivable sum. Speaking of which, yeah, let's go ahead and reward the poor guy for his service. I can't imagine he's much use as a spy at this point. The sobbing old man swears to pray daily for the good health of the new Lord Captain. The story of his amazing adventure and selfless service immediately spreads throughout the ship. Ooh, bonus. And wow, that's apparently it, huh? I've got to say, I really thought we were going to have a dungeon here. It did feel like they were setting us up for some sort of side trek to further delve into, like, the infrastructure of Voigtvir's network, but without, treading on the actual main story stuff, since I'm sure his ultimate machinations and fate are determined in the main campaign as opposed to a side DLC. And then when they started talking about the documents, I assumed that that would be our adventure, trying to go and recover them, either on planet or at some other tertiary location. But again, apparently not. That is a bit of a shame, though, because we do actually have good reason to head back into Winterscale territory. We have a single rumor still pointing us out there that is in need of resolution. That and the magnetic storms just northwest of Footfall. Those are the 2 main things I've got left on my to-do list, aside from, of course, taking Marazai up on his invitation, which will honestly likely be the very last thing we do in this particular act. Especially since, as I have previously noted, we do definitely still have several travel events queued up. So actually, I guess that is still good reason to travel south rather than west. Anyway, we'll worry about that next time. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Eerie V23, Revenant, Alois, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.
Everything the rogue trader desires